I think it would be worth sort of recapping the glyphosate issue that we spoke about last time. Maybe I'll just give a small rundown and you can tell me where I've gone wrong. So
Okay.
Glyphosate is this unusual molecule that is almost like a glycine, so an amino acid, but it's got some extra stuff on it. So it's a little bit larger. Not only is it a metal chelator, it's also an antibiotic. And it appears to be able to, in certain places like collagen, where it's very long and stretchy, it's able to jump in instead of glycine and interrupt the way that the proteins are folding.
That's right.
We don't know, I guess we don't know what the whole implications of this this glycine substitution might be. But, our extracellular matrix, all the stuff between all of our cells is made up of a lot of glycine-containing proteins. So
that's right.
We don't know what the implications of this might be if it turns out to be true, which I think it's, the writing's on the wall. It'd be very difficult to argue against this glycine substitution, hypothesis, if you will. So basically, we've got this water-soluble toxin in the environment. We can't get rid of it because not only do we keep spraying it, it doesn't break down very easily, and it appears to embed itself within us. So we're facing this big problem where we're not really sure what to do about this, and we're not sure to the full extent of how this is affecting us. And it looks like not many people are willing to look into the problem either, because it's a big deal if you're saying, hey, this is actually hurting people really badly. Is that a decent brief summary?
That's very, very good. Yes. And of course, the thing is the farmers at this point seem to be convinced that they can't live without glyphosate, and they're telling the government we can't do without it, which is really, really sad to say. We're going to be willing to poison our children, all of us, but especially the kids. It really breaks my heart to see what it's doing to the children. And we can't stop doing this because it's so essential for food production. That just cannot be true, but that's what they're saying. And of course, the industry fights really hard and claims that the chemical is perfectly safe. But there are a lot of papers coming out in the last few years that are very clearly showing evidence of damage to all kinds of different situations. So I'm excited about the recent. I think for the longest time, people didn't bother to study glyphosate because it's safe. It's sort of boring to study something that's not going to show any trouble. So they were convinced that it was safe, and therefore they wouldn't spend their money trying to study it. But now that people are becoming aware that it is toxic, more and more researchers are finding it necessary to actually do the studies and to show what it's doing. And they're finding a lot of evidence that I would say that I'm right, in terms of what's happening.
Yeah, and I recently spoke to Kerry Gillam on the podcast as well, and we spoke about the class action lawsuit in America, that I believe $15 or $16 billion class action. That wouldn't have got hold if there wasn't at least some truth to this idea that it's causing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And that's just one type of cancer. This is a very narrow slice to what I think is really going on. So and they wouldn't have conceded if they knew that it was safe.